Horizon Forbidden West is the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. Is it something that you should be playing, especially now that there's new DLC available? Stay tuned to This, That, and Theology and find out. Hi, I'm Pastor Zach, and you're watching This, That, and Theology, and today we're going to be looking at Horizon Forbidden West, mainly the main game, but at the very end, we'll talk about the DLC and also give you some tips on how you can talk about your worldview and how it interacts with the worldview of this incredible sci-fi game. Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West both take place about 1,000 years from today, in a future where all of creation, the entire world, has been destroyed and rebuilt by giant robots that look a little like dinosaurs. I'll never forget the first time I took my bow and arrow and took down one of these giant behemoths. It's an experience that is memorable and enjoyable. The game is a lot of fun. You control Aloy, orphaned, once outcast member of the Nora tribe, who now works to save the world by finding missing pieces of technology that can help reset existence. The story from the first game found Aloy discovering who she was and how she fit into the world, which was a question, as well as battling against enemies who were seeking to destroy the Earth by letting an AI program called Hades reset everything on the planet. Forbidden West begins with you trying to find a copy of Gaia, the AI made up of several other parts that helps control the system that uses robots to manage the environment, creatures, even bringing humans back into existence after an apocalyptic destruction that came about from those very same robots. Aloy wants to do all of this on her own, but before long she gathers a team of other people from this futuristic tribal humanity who understand her purpose and her drive and join her on her quest to protect humanity. While you do sometimes battle humans in the game, most of the time your enemies are going to be these giant robotic dinosaurs or other creatures that may look vaguely familiar. One of my favorite giant robot dinosaurs actually looks a little more like a giant woolly mammoth. It shoots rockets, it has a giant tusk, it'll run you over. It's a blast to take down, and it's not easy. One of the features of the game is that Aloy has a device called a focus. It's a small device that she wears on her temple that allows her to get some hidden information that the rest of the world can't see. She's literally able to see things that are hidden away without having this device. These holographic panels that she sees through the focus allows her to understand the history of the planet, exactly how we got to where we are, and that's different than what those around her are able to see. For the most part, the people in Horizon Forbidden West and Horizon Zero Dawn are tribal, that have created their own mythology to somehow explain the world that they live in. Whether it's the Nora believing in All-Mother, who in reality is the voice of an AI door that is embedded in the mountain near their area, or the Karja, who worship the sun, or any of the other tribes who exist within this world, who've come up with explanations for how the world exists, not unlike the way mankind has, apart from understanding how things were created from God, have created mythology to explain the world around them. As Aloy interacts with other people, and especially as they express her belief, she is skeptical and frustrated. In fact, there's even one moment where there's an eye roll where you think those digital eyeballs are going to go straight back to the back of her head. She's frustrated with those who hang on to their religious beliefs instead of understanding the science that has given a clear and reasonable explanation for the world around them. Instead of believing in a All-Mother, there is an AI door that controls a facility. Instead of land god robots that help plant and bring food, they're machines that were controlled by an AI that were designed to bring back vegetation to the earth. Aloy's frustration with those around her and their refusal to accept science as a response to her belief makes her a little standoffish when it comes to interacting with those groups. As her team grows, each of them get their own focus, and they start to understand that the world is not the way they thought it was, and in fact can be explained by science. The ultimate villain in this whole game series isn't some unknown robot, but rather man itself, as they have created the very monsters, the very robots that destroy the planet, that build it up, and that get manipulated again to destroy it all over again. Part of this worldview of science over religion is that if we really actually understood the science behind the world around us, we would disregard the gods. One of Aloy's defining characteristics is that as an outcast and as someone outside of a tribe, she had always been alone. And part of the message of the game is how she goes from being completely a loner who doesn't care about those around her to actually being somebody who needs the team around her. This shift from being someone who can only do things by herself to one that needs her community, her own tribe around her, is part of the overarching story arc and worldview of the game. We can't do this on our own. We're actually glad as we see her companions turn into friends and really into something of a found family. We're excited for her and we want to see that relationship grow. The worldview section here is that we cannot do things by our own. We must, in fact, have a community around us to give us that strength. Aloy is a character on a mission. She has something that she needs to do, and she eliminates those things that don't help her do them. Ultimately, she finds she needs to have companions and friends, but that does mean that the developers intentionally kept any kind of romance out of the game's plot. Aloy was there to do a mission. She gets friends, she gets companions, but any thought of romance was out of it, even though many fans were asking for it. With the new DLC that just launched, Burning Shores, fans got what they asked for, but maybe not what they actually asked for. One of the plot elements from the first game is that Aloy is actually a clone of one of the original engineers of the Zero Dawn project that brought about the world she's in, by the name of Dr. Elizabeth Sobek. If you dig really deep into the dialogue trees, you'll find out that Elizabeth Sobek actually had a relationship with one of the female characters that you meet towards the latter part of this second game. But you have to go really deep to find any kind of romance that is not a traditional male and female kind of pairing. On April 19th, 2023, the DLC Burning Shores was released, where our hero Aloy actually goes to the area of Los Angeles, which is now partially flooded, to fight a new threat. It happens after the plot of Forbidden West, so you have to finish the main game before you start. Once you head over there, you meet a new character that becomes your companion through the extra 10 to 15 hours of gameplay. However, the character development for Aloy has been described by the developers as an important part of her future story. The reason we should care about this is that unlike the main game and the previous game in DLC, where any romantic involvement is seen as a distraction, that becomes front and center by the time you get to the end of the DLC. At the end of the DLC, this companion, who is female, has developed a good close friendship, and you have the option in the last dialogue tree to make it more than friendship and actually be romantic and kiss. So you do have two women kissing at the end of the DLC. Now, for some, that may not seem like a big deal, and it isn't an integral part of actually playing the game. However, it does change the nature of who Aloy is, not just for the DLC, but through the whole games. Now we're not talking about a character who is on mission and doesn't have time for romance. What you see is a character arc that shows that in the beginning of the game series, there's something missing in her life because of her focus. And as she goes through the game stories, you see how she needs community and she needs companionship, and now she needs someone to go through life with, and that is potentially this character. As you're talking about worldviews in video games in particular, you're talking about a long time to get a single message across. Gone are the days of Mario Brothers when the only story element was princess is missing, go get her. Now we have complex characters and complex stories and worldviews that are communicated through that storytelling. You need to make the choice for yourself whether or not having an LGBT character as the main person that you're controlling. And again, there's no option for anyone else. The developers are clearly saying this is how Aloy is. You need to make the decision whether this is all right for you and your family to have as a part of your video game library. Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West are included in the PlayStation Plus catalog. That means if you're a part of their subscription service on the second tier, it doesn't cost you anything to try this game out. However, with the new release of Burning Shores DLC, many are considering, hey, it's only 20 bucks and I get 10, 15, 20 hours extra play. Maybe this is part of what I should play. Unlike other DLC, the developers have said this is a key part of the storytelling. You need to decide if it's all right to have the main character be part of the LGBT community in the stories that you are telling through your gameplay and movies. As promised, here's a couple of ways that you can talk about your worldview using Horizon Forbidden West and Horizon Zero Dawn. First off, most of the problems that exist in the Horizon series come from the hubris of one man. Through that one man's sin, the entire world was destroyed. This isn't all that different from what the Bible says in Romans 5, when it says that through one man, Adam, sin came into the world. This is a way to talk about how through Adam's sin, all sin came into the world, and that through one man, Jesus, our redemption is found. The second thing you can talk about as far as worldview goes is Aloy, by the end of Forbidden West, realizes that she can't do it alone, that she needs a community around her. Just as we as Christians need the church around us. In Hebrews chapter 10, it says not to forsake the gathering of believers, because it's through that we call one another to righteousness. It's through our gathering each week that we encourage one another, that we remind each other of sound doctrine, that we get strength to face the day. Just like Aloy needed her community, we need ours. And finally, because the DLC makes it clear that Aloy is at the very least bi, we do need to ask the question, is it part of our games? Don't keep this to yourself. Talk through this with your kids. Whether you decide to play the game and forego the DLC, or if you decide to play the DLC, or just to skip the whole thing altogether, these are decisions that you can talk through with your family. Why do we not keep this in our video game, or why are we playing this in our video game library? Hopefully all of this is helpful for you as you try to navigate the complicated world we live in, and we see our Christian worldview in the secular worldview around us, because that's what we hear about at This, That, and Theology. Check out our other videos up here, or you can also read some of our reviews, including some that we don't have videos for yet, at our website, thisthatandtheology.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss every video that comes out right here.